as you can see in this diagram, there is thickening of the myofibrils, and the nucleus, all the nuclei are also thickened with squarish ends. This is called the boxcar effect in the heart. Heart failure can be left-sided heart failure or right-sided heart failure. Causes of left-sided heart failure are ischemic heart disease, hypertension, and valvular disease. Morphology: early changes which occur in the heart due to failure can be hypertrophy of the left ventricular wall. Late changes include dilatation of left ventricle and secondary dilatation of left atrium. Atrial fibrillation can occur, which leads to stasis of blood, thrombus formation, and embolism. In the lungs, the changes which occur due to heart failure can be pulmonary congestion and edema, edema in the alveolar spaces, and heart failure cells appear in the lungs, which are actually hemosiderin-laden macrophages in the alveolar spaces. In the kidney, there is decreased blood supply, leading to water retention, which adds up to the pulmonary edema. Azotemia is also found, that is increased blood urea and nitrogen. In the brain, hypoxic encephalopathy can be seen in advanced cases. Now, as we can see, the sign symptoms in left heart failure can be dyspnea, orthopnea, paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, blood tinge sputum can be observed, cyanosis is present, and there is elevated pulmonary pressure. Now, can you understand why all these findings are related to left heart failure? Because they are primarily pulmonary symptoms, right? In right-sided heart failure, the causes can be left-sided heart failure, number 1, number 2, pulmonary hypertension, and number 3, pulmonary interstitial disease. In changes occurring in the liver can be congestion, fatty change, and fibrosis. Spleen may, what will happen? Congestive splenomegaly and ascites can occur. In the kidney, same features as left heart failure. And in the lungs, there can be pleural and pericardial effusions. Now, the symptoms in right heart failure can be fatigue, dependent edema, jugular venous distension, hepatomegaly, ascites, pleural effusion, GI distress and anorexia, cyanosis, and increased peripheral venous pressure. Again, why do these symptoms appear in right heart failure? Because primarily these are systemic symptoms, right? We can classify heart disease into ischemic heart disease, then we have hypertensive heart disease, then valvular heart disease, and coronary heart disease. Ischemic heart disease, we'll discuss them one by one. Hypertension, which is associated with heart failure and coronary artery disease. Then valvular heart disease can be damage to the valves, or it can be congenital. And coronary arteries, they become in coronary heart disease, the arteries become too what we can say narrow due to cholesterol deposits. Clinical manifestation of ischemic heart disease: angina pectoris will be present, which can be stable or unstable. Then we can have myocardial infarction, chronic ischemic heart disease, which can lead to congestive heart failure, and sudden cardiac death can occur. Acute coronary syndrome factors: these include acute plaque changes, inflammation, thrombus formation, and vasoconstriction. We'll discuss them one by one. Acute plaque changes: they can be rupture or fissuring of the plaque, erosion and ulceration of the plaque, or they can be acute hemorrhage. Inflammation: back to the inflammation saga. Endothelial cells, they release selectins. T cells release tumor necrosis factor, interleukin 6 and interferon gamma to stimulate and activate the endothelial cells and macrophages. Then C-reactive protein, which predicts the probability of damage in angina patients. thrombosis can occur.